episode of Resilience Behind the Walls. My name is Tasha Blanco, and today we will be speaking with a sister who will shed some light on the impact of the criminal justice system and its trauma that it's caused her. Hello, thank you for joining us today. Can you tell us your name for the viewers?
Hi Tasha, my name is Sol, and I'm here today.
We appreciate you coming in and talking about this so important subject and topic so that people can hear your experience. I know over the past few years you've experienced tremendous trauma. Much of this trauma has been caused by the criminal justice systems, other systems, and support programs. Can you tell us what you've experienced over the past few years?
Well, I was introduced very seriously to the criminal system 2 years ago. And the trauma it's caused me is a lot basically because I let the court system know that I really was a victim. I really don't believe that they accepted that, because still to this very day I am fighting these charges that were brought against me, and they've led to some more charges, and I was given context and support systems with the domestic violence programs and things like that, and I really haven't seen much benefit from those programs. And because of all that I've been through, they also denied me some of the help. If I were not going through these issues, the help would be given to me. So basically, the support system the court gave me denies me for the very fact that I'm fighting these criminal charges. So basically, these programs treat me as a criminal, even though I'm still fighting my cases in court.
Yeah, so it sounds like, and I thank you for being so transparent and open, because I know that this is heavy, you know, you're going through it, but at the same time, this conversation, you know, of getting back into that space of what you're going through, like the trauma can be triggering. And the system itself, which is designed in the way that it is designed, is not giving you, they're saying that they're giving you the support that you need, but you're actually not finding it. There's roadblocks with that. And I'm wondering how you're able to navigate that on a day-to-day basis of being in that influx of what's next.
I basically just take each day at a time. I prioritize my things. I deal with a lot of conditions that the bail has given me. Like I have to comply with my mental health services and my jail diversion worker and my domestic violence worker, and check in with the bail commissioner, on top of juggling 2 jobs, a single mom, you know, and the issues that I have from domestic violence. So it's a big juggle, and I just basically prioritize my needs. Like, okay, sis, you got 2 jobs to go to today. You know, get up, brush your teeth, get to job number 1, get to job number 2, and then deal with everything after the fact. So, you know, some people might say that's not really dealing with it. It's just surviving, you know?
Yeah, I think that you bring up a great point of, you know, how does one handle trauma? How does one cope with it? And it sounds like, you know, there's many ways that we can do that. I'm just wondering if, you know, you're talking about coping and getting up. Get yourself out there, sis. Domestic violence is very heavy. It weighs on many of our families and us as individuals. Can you tell me a little bit about what it's been like for you and your family?
Well, for me, I believe that the relationship that I have with my child is one that suffers the most. It's the one also that grieves me the most. I laugh when you say coping skills because, there are good days and there are bad days. I laugh because, like I said, I've been going through my issues since 2019. And I've pretty much done everything you can or shouldn't do to cope with my issues. I've ignored them. I've tried to drink them away. I've tried to fight them away. I've tried to work them away. But I think the best thing that the listeners could do is just to remember that your brain is a tool, and these feelings, they're not everlasting. They're just fleet feelings. Feel them, let them go, and remember what you need to do. What's the next step you need to do to be safe, to get up and go to work, to take care of your kids, and to take care of yourself. That's the ultimate thing. That's the best way I can tell somebody. Don't drink.
But we know that people deal, like, we as individuals have coping skills, whether that's we're going through therapy, whether that's that we're talking to our family members, our aunties, our uncles, that community person that can give us some support. And then there's other ways that we can do it that may not be as so healthy. So I appreciate you bringing things up about things that people may choose to do when dealing with some heavy situations. And every time I speak to you, you bring such forth this inspiring message to people, and I know that that's one of the reasons why you wanted to talk today. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
With that being said, what do you think needs to change within this, you said earlier, this broken system to support women and people who are in your position, who are being victimized and criminalized?
I think the number one issue to bring to mainly the issue of domestic violence is to, talk to both parties, listen, speak with doctors, get women to a safe place where they can feel like they can share honestly and confidently the struggles that they're facing, and then help them to find solutions to that. I feel like women in domestic violence issues, especially in this day and age with inflation and very low wages, that women are choosing to stay in issues or in domestic violence because there's nowhere else to go. Like, where's the low-income housing? Where's the support for women that want to leave and support themselves and their family independently? I think that's mainly the main issue. And listen to these women. A woman who says she's being victimized has been victimized so many times, because this is a topic that people or women do not talk about. They teach their children not to talk about it at school. And when a woman is opening her mouth and she's saying she's being victimized, I would believe that woman. And she's asking for help. And what you need to do is help her find the resources to get out of a messed up situation. Not believe her or ask her why she's staying. Women stay because, they want to stay with their kids, or they can't afford to leave, or the car's in her husband's name and he'll take it away from her. These are reasons why women stay, and it's a cycle of abuse, So women always feel like, oh, but it'll get better. It will, but it'll get worse, and it'll be that circle, get better and it'll get worse. So, even just a supportive friend, just listen to your friend. Just listen. And when she asks for help, make sure you're there.
You just said some powerful words, so I'm just letting it sit in my body. I just think about, it takes time for people to get to a point of where they seek help, and they don't need to be judged. They need to be supported, and it's gonna take someone that they actually trust So they could be going to a program, they could be talking to their friends, and it may take some time for them to share that information. For multitudes of reasons that you explained, whether it's like, I need shelter, or I have shame, I don't want to share this with anybody. I got my family I gotta think about. There's just so much. And so I think you bring up the very important point of there's these programs that may provide a lot of support for people, but sometimes they could be roadblocks or obstacles that don't provide the much needed help that women and other individuals, like our brothers and sisters, need just overall. And so, yeah. Whew. So I thank you for bringing that to the forefront.
Thank you.
And with that, like you're saying, to have a supportive friend or a support system, I'm just thinking about, why do you believe it's important for women to share their stories?
Because we're not alone. You know, your sister, she might like good, she might drive a nice car, but her man might be beating her at home, or he might not beat her, but he might talk down on her the moment she walks through the door. And there are many women or families that go through these issues, and a woman who's been through the very issues that you've been, she lends understanding. She understands what kind of support you need. She may know or be aware of resources that you're not aware of. And, you know, we got to keep the battery pack in. And you can't do that alone. So, you know, once you share, you know, you can overcome. It's not a battle you're battling by yourself, you know.
Definitely. So when you think of like, it takes a village or it takes a community, I hear you.
Yeah.
And I thank you again for sharing your experiences with us today. As we think about the victimization and the trauma that you've experienced, can you tell us a little bit about, what advice would you give people who may be facing what you're facing currently, or who are experiencing the prison system in a way that you are?
I want to answer this. So can you repeat the first part?
So given with your current situation, as far as, what advice would you give to people who are going through the prison system that may be facing something that you might be facing or that you're facing currently?
I would say, you know, comply with the court. I mean, voice your issues and your concerns. Advocate for yourself. I've advocated through the bail commissioner's office. You know, I've asked for help with mental health services. They spoke to me. That's not really the traditional way to go about it, but that's what got me the services that I needed in that part. So I would say, especially if you're a victim and you're being criminalized, advocate your needs and your concerns. Safe Futures and other domestic hotline services are confidential. You know, you have to sign a release if you want to take other steps further. But speak and let somebody else know what's going on. And hopefully there are some resources there that they can direct you to. If one service denies you for whatever reason, as I've been personally denied, I've been denied shelter. That's my problem because of my the charges I'm facing. Being denied to shelter me. Seek services through another program. Safe Futures is a program. The Umbrella Connection is another program. There's a national hotline. If you are suffering domestic violence and have legal issues, there's a service, there's a website, a national website for that. I'm not sure what it is, but I think we can look it up for you. And try to get your needs met. Don't wait on somebody to do it for you. Get out there and do the work.
I appreciate that. And you bring out this word advocacy. And with you talking about the places that you've called or gone to for support, can you kind of give an experience or an example of how you were able to advocate for yourself?
I think what's really worked for me is being transparent, and sharing my issues and my concerns, and really just actively looking for a solution. I refuse to stay stuck in my situation. I refuse for it to stay the same. I'm actively looking for better, seeking better, and I feel like, if you work, eventually something's got to fall in line. And believe me, people are watching. When you are coming and you're advocating for yourself, you're standing out. The bail commissioners, they treat me with a lot of respect, and I think it's because they really understand my issues, and it's because I've shared them, and I've actively said, I'm looking for shelter services, I need this. I'm looking for mental health services, I can't get in anywhere, they won't accept new patients, and getting my services through the court. People look at the court as a good and a bad thing, but they have resources that other places don't, and they can sometimes get things done for you.
Powerful. And what I know of you is that you won't take no for it. I know that you'll say, okay, one door is closed, all right, let me find. And one of the beautiful things in our group, when we've come together to strategize about cases, we really look towards that advocacy piece. And that's what's been really important for us is, how do you strategize with that? How do you get the support that you need? So you stepping into your power and showing up to the court and saying, okay, this is what you're saying, and now you're telling me no? Well, then we're gonna find another alternative for me. And I think that that's really important for people to recognize and realize that you can step into your advocacy and stand up for yourself and not necessarily have to, lean on your public defender, lean on the people who are supposed to provide supports to you when they are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. That's the power that we harness, and that we shouldn't be waiting upon someone to do something. So we gotta get out there and really advocate for ourselves, and advocate like you said, as a community.
Or as a unit.
As a unit, so that we're showing up and they're saying, all right, there's more than one of them. I can't just do the ordinary. I need to do more. So I appreciate that. I think, that was perfect. Can you speak to a little bit about, you say that you are a go-getter, you are not going to stand still, you've been in flux for a while dealing with everything, and managing some hard things. And so I would like for you to share with us, what do you look forward to in the future?
I look forward to this all being behind me. I look forward to not having to work as much, having more time for my family, taking a little more time for myself. I was very nervous about today, but I like very much how I feel right now. I'm glad. It's been very therapeutic. I hope somebody gets what they need from this, or it gave them a little more energy to, seek and do some things for themselves that people are telling them no. So I'm very much a person that likes to give back. This program, Connecticut Bail Bond, helped me out a lot in my first stages, a lot of different ways, financially, support at court, support on our Zoom, and it's really meant a lot in the world to me. So I'm just happy to play my part.
Well, we really appreciate you spending time with us today, and again, sharing some really personal experiences, having to talk about trauma, having to talk about domestic violence. Um, that's really a tough conversation to have for many folks, and I appreciate you being willing to do that with us today. With all that we've spoken about, with your future plans, with your future aspirations, with you getting past this part, is there anything that you would like to share with the viewers that we haven't spoken about that you feel it would be important for us to discuss?
I have a quote in mind, and I might have it a little bit wrong. I'm not sure who said it, but it says something along the lines of, "Do not judge those who are being oppressed by how they react." And I believe when people have dealt with trauma, any kind of trauma, um, they can react and be sad, they can react and be mad, and they can isolate. Don't judge people on how they react in a depressed state, because that is not their natural state, you know? So things, may come out, but um, it's only human nature, however you react.
So I know that you wanted to share an example that has occurred that you think is very important for people to know, and that is about how police handle domestic violence situations.
Yeah, thanks, Sasha. I'd like to just remind people that, and I hope some law enforcement hears this, is that women that are experiencing domestic violence, number one, may not want to call the police and may not call y'all, but abusive men are already hip to, if I call the cops first, then I'm covered, I'm the victim, and she'll get arrested. And I've experienced this personally. I know other women that has experienced this themselves, of dealing with abuse for hours from the man, and then the man turns around and calls the cops on you, and then you get arrested. This is a perfect example of how this criminal justice system, is broken, and just because a woman doesn't have marks or didn't call the cops doesn't mean she doesn't need some type of assistance. I think that, I know it's hard to be an outsider coming into a situation, but I feel like police need to have a little bit more awareness of the people they're interacting with, and, providing a safe place for women to come out and say, hey, I've been abused, without fear of some type of, I'm going to get arrested too, and things like that. I think that's one of the main issues. Women have fear of calling the police because you don't know what the outcome will be. You don't know if somebody's going to get hurt at the hands of the police.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if both of y'all's going to get arrested. Now who's going to stay with the kids? And there's all different type of other reasons that I'm not aware of, but these are just a few of them. So I really do hope somebody hears that, and especially law enforcement.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's not everybody's go-to, and then we know that once they do arrive onto the scene, most likely people fear for their lives, fear that they're going to be arrested, or fear those things about who's going to stay with our young ones.
Or even more trauma from the police.
Yes.
Because they want to violate your rights.
I mean, we talking about it right now.
This is real.
You're
it's real.
1,000% right.
It's real. I'll even share one personally. I was getting stitches at the hospital, and I was getting stitches in my mouth and in my arm, And the police brought me there because there was a domestic at my house. And then I just got done telling one police officer, look, I'm about to comply. And I asked I asked another officer if she could handcuff me to the front because I have stitches in the inside of my arm. And she's told me no, and she yanked my arm behind my back. Now, mind you, I just went through a domestic when I just received stitches in my mouth and in my arm. And I yanked my arm back, not out of no type of real disrespect, but just because, you know, she could have just said, I'm going to arrest you, put your hands in the back of you. You know, she could have just, you know, said it like that. And I probably would have just complied. But the way she manhandled me, I reacted in such a way to take my body back. And then the cops proceeded to throw me on the ground, knee me in my back, and hog-tie me and carry me out of the police station. True story. My story. And it's shit like that that really makes me lose all type of respect for the police, because I already been traumatized. You're hauling me downtown to Holding, about to process me, and you could have just had a little more empathy and sympathy for me, and not treated me in that way. So, right there it is.
Wow. With you sharing that, I think about the anger that is rising in me as someone who was hurt and then they just put more hurt onto you. And that is not okay. And, you know, I think about how do we not look for the police as a solution? How do we look to the community to deal with things that we are going through? And how does the police know that this is not the appropriate time to be manhandling me as you see me as a person who is physically hurt and in need of medical attention, and this is the way that you choose to treat me as a human?
I just think it brings awareness to the lack of training that they have in dealing with the public, people, women, domestic violence, and mental health issues. Number one. I mean, we've seen on TV, you know, people with mental health services, schizophrenic, or having a breakdown, and the cops shooting them or doing whatever do, and those are just the few that we see. It happens all the time, every day. You know, a cosmetologist has more training than a police officer, and I think that just sheds the light on that.
Some real words. I think that you bring to light what so many people have experienced, what so many people have feared, and this needs to stop. And if we can look more, as I think about how do we look to our community in response for the support, because, you know, training of officers, what is that? They've been trained. So why are you not doing what you should be doing, which is treating people
with dignity and respect, even if they're criminal? Come on, they're still human. We're all human.
Well, she said it. I mean, I appreciate your powerful words and you, again, sharing your experience with us today. There needs to be change. There needs to be more support for people that are experiencing domestic violence. Our brothers and sisters are suffering. Some of them are suffering in silence. And we need to be more aware and supportive. Again, thank you for watching and listening to another episode of Every Time It's Time.